When you listen to music, what attracts you to a song? The beat, the melody, the lyrics? Welcome to Auditio Divina, Sacred Listening with Heart, a podcast sponsored by Resurrection Catholic Parish in Green Bay, Wisconsin. For centuries, Lectio Divina, or sacred reading, has served as a spiritual practice that has helped people to reflect upon the scriptures with a 4-step process. Katie and Tony, hosts of the popular podcast Revealed, also sponsored by Resurrection Catholic Parish, bring this ancient practice to the world of music. Through listening, meditating, praying, and contemplating or sitting with a song, the words and music come alive to add spiritual depth to the experience of listening. Let's join our hosts, Katie and Tony, as they lead us through this spiritual practice, ever ancient and ever new. Welcome to Auditio Divina, Sacred Listening with Heart.
Welcome to Auditio Divina, Sacred Listening with Heart. I'm Katie.
And I'm Tony.
And today we are breaking open a song that is actually one of your very favorite songs, isn't it, Tony?
Yeah, I don't know why we keep playing my favorite songs, but, well, I'm really glad we do.
Well, that's because every song that I try to suggest, you say, no, not really.
Well, truth be told, we are playing this song as one of my favorite songs because another one of my favorite songs got vetoed by you.
Well, you will just have to see who vetoes who on the next song.
There we go. We'll take a vote.
With all that set aside, we do have a great song that maybe some of you haven't even heard of, nor the song nor the band. So we're kind of opening up a little bit more of your horizons in the music world. So, Tony, just like always, I always ask you to do a very short overview of what Auditio Divina is for our listeners to review.
All right, Katie, thanks. I'll give it my best shot. So, Auditio Divina comes from Lectio Divina. It's a prayer form from the Benedictines, and it stands for sacred reading. And so typically we use scripture or other sacred literature to do this process. Well, Auditio Divina is sacred listening. There's 4 steps, just like in Lectio Divina. The first step is called auditio. It's Latin for listening. And so we're going to listen to a snippet of a song, and basically, we're going to be asking ourselves, what word, what phrase stuck out to us in that song? Or as you know, if you've listened to this before, I love to ask, what word or phrase is choosing us? So that's kind of a key here. Second step is meditatio. That's Latin for meditation. And in that step, we're going to listen to the song again, but then we're going to really reflect upon why is that word or phrase sticking out to us today? So that's meditatio. The third step is oratio, and that is lifting our word or phrase up in prayer. Oratio is Latin for prayer, so we're going to pray with our word or phrase. And then the fourth step is called contemplatio. It's Latin for contemplation, and in that step, we are going to just be resting with our word or our phrase, contemplating how that word or phrase will shape our lives this day, this week, this month.
You know, as you were explaining this, I was just kind of thinking about how songwriters, do they really understand the effect that their words can have on us and how we're using their words to affect our prayer life? And I just think that's so cool how you can do something and never truly understand the effect that it has on others. So, I mean, that's a lesson for all of us. But, you know, songwriters, how their words help our prayer life. And that's so cool. And
well, and I do have to say, I listened to an interview by Paul Simon once, and he was talking about how he comes up with lyrics, and he said, sometimes I don't even know what the lyric means. And then people attach meaning from themselves or from the Spirit or from somewhere onto those words that he is singing. So sometimes he doesn't even know what the words mean. That comes from somewhere within him. So it's really an interesting process.
So the song that we are using this process with is, like I said, one of your favorite songs. And so, you know what? Our little paper says that I'm supposed to intro the song, but Tony, why would I intro your favorite song? I think that honor needs to go to you.
Well, I'm not going to say it's my favorite song, but it's in the top listing. All right, I do really love this song, and I love the band. So the band is called Dispatch, and it's a indie rock band. They originated from Middlebury, Vermont. Now they're based in Boston, and they've had an up and down career. They took some hiatuses there, even up to a decade's worth, and, just tried to find themselves. But they've written some really amazing songs, I think. And one of those songs is called The General. And the history about The General is the guys who were in dispatch would hear their fathers, their grandfathers talk about war, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, even Vietnam War, I suppose, to a certain extent, and sometimes glorified war. And they talked about the aspects of war that we hold up. And they came to really believe that really war is not good for anybody. And so they wrote this song kind of going back to the Civil War and the history of Robert E. Lee and him leading the Southern Army, and in a sense coming to a point where he just had to give up and surrender. He knew he couldn't go on any further. And so this song, The General, is really a great song with great lyrics that talks about war, and particularly General E. Lee's experience of war.
Thanks, Tony. And one day I'll actually finally figure out what is your favorite song. But
I've got so many of them.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Good luck.
All right. So we are going to play through this verse of The General by Dispatch. And while we're playing it, we want you to really listen for a word or phrase that, as Tony said earlier, that grabs you. What is speaking to you? So let's listen to The General by Dispatch.
He said, I have seen the others, and I have discovered that this fight is not worth fighting. And I've seen their mothers, and I will no other to follow me where I'm going. So take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young, then you must be living. Take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young, then you must be living. Go now, you are forgiven.
Well, welcome back to that first listen of The General by Dispatch. Hopefully it was a great song. I love how upbeat it is despite the content that it's really talking about. Sometimes that can be a little deceiving, but we're going to share what our word or phrase is that spoke to us. And for me, it is, I've seen their mothers.
And for me, it is, this fight is not worth fighting. So let's listen a second time to The General by Dispatch. And this time we're in the step of meditatio. We're going to be reflecting on why. Why does this word or phrase from this song really strike us or speaks to us? So let's listen again to The General by Dispatch.
He said, I have seen the others, and I have discovered that this fight is not worth fighting. And I've seen their mothers, and I will no other to follow me where I'm going. So take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young, then you must be living. Take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young, then you must be living. Go now, you are forgiven.
As we come back, it's time to reflect on why. Why is that word or phrase really tugging at your heartstrings? For me, the phrase, I've seen their mothers, just really stuck to me. I think motherhood is such a common binding force. Every person that has ever been born has a mother. Now, whether that is, birth mother, adoptive mother, godmother, there's so many types of mothers in this world. And when we have that unifying essence that everybody has a mother figure in their world, there's something truly humbling about looking at somebody and seeing a child in that person. There's something very humbling about looking at a person and knowing that that person is somebody's child. That regardless of how you actually feel about that person, when we can break down those barriers and see that that person that, is supposed to be our enemy, that person that is who we're fighting against, that person is a child of somebody, that somebody loves that person. And we look at what binds all of us as humans. And isn't that motherly love from our mothers or grandmothers or whoever that person is that is showing that motherly love? And not to get too churchy on us, but, we look at, how Jesus' relationship with his mother and how she saw Jesus go through so much and she was there, and how her love transcends all time and it's still present today. And that's what we need to fight for. We need to fight for love. We need to fight for bringing us together. We need to get rid of this physical killing and destroying and to fight for love. And I feel like this is what that song is saying. And for me, my mother is so amazingly important to me. And when I think of my love for my mother, it makes me think of when I am against somebody, to think of how does their mother see them. A lot of rambling, but I guess that's, just letting the Spirit talk for me.
For me, my phrase was, this fight is not worth fighting. And the general he uses these words, he's seen the other and he's seen their mothers. And he's coming to the conclusion that fighting is not going to be the answer. And it's when we do see the other, the mother, the other person as a person, we realize that nothing, no war, no fighting, no conflict is worth it, because we're killing people, we're hurting people, we're destroying homes, we're destroying lives. I think about the two main conflicts we have going on right now. The one in Israel, the Gaza Strip, and the other in the Ukraine. And in both of those situations, if the Ukrainian people really thought about the mothers and the people of Russia, and the Russian people thought about the people in Ukraine and their mothers and them and the Ukrainians as people, how could they ever be throwing bombs to each other? And the same goes for the Gaza Strip. So if the Israelis really saw the people in Gaza, the mothers, the children, the people who were being negatively affected by that war, as people, they wouldn't be throwing bombs over there. And even if they could see the people of Hamas, though they're terrorists, their leadership has not been good, they too have mothers, just like you said. They too are people. They too, we have to believe, are created in the image and likeness of God. So destroying their land is really not a good thing, and vice versa. For the people of Hamas to look at the Israelis as not as the enemy or the people they've hated for so long, but as people created in the image and likeness of God with mothers, there wouldn't be this conflict. So I know it sounds so utopian and so perfect, like that's, like that could ever happen. But why not? Why not? Because fighting, we have proven since the beginning of time that fighting and conflicts and shooting and bombing and destroying, it ain't working for us. So maybe there's a lesson in that there's a different way. And I think the different way begins by recognizing the humanity in people, recognizing that the other has a mother.
Now we invite you to listen a third time and to pray with that word or phrase that's tugging at your heartstring. So once again, this is The General by Dispatch.
He said, I have seen the others, and I have discovered that this fight is not worth fighting. And I've seen their mothers, and I will no other to follow me where I'm going. So take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young, then you must be living. Take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young, then you must be living. Go now, you are forgiven.
Welcome back from that third playing of The General by Dispatch. And now we ask you to really get into this step of oratio, Latin for prayer, where we're lifting up our word or our phrase in prayer to the holy, to the sacred, to our God. Let's pray using our word or phrase.
Well, we've come to the final fourth listen of The General by Dispatch. And in this listen, we invite you to rest in the presence of the sacred or the holy and let that word or phrase sink deeper and deeper into you. So let's listen to one final time to Dispatch singing The General.
He said, I have seen the others, and I have discovered that this fight is not worth fighting. And I've seen their mothers, and I will know other to follow me where I'm going. So take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young, then you must be living. Take a shower and shine your shoes. You got no time to lose. If you are young, then you must be living. Go now, you are forgiven.
So welcome back from that final listen of The General by Dispatch. And now we just invite you to rest with your word or phrase, contemplating how that word or phrase will really impact your life this week, this month, this coming year.
Now it's time to share that reflection. How is this word or phrase going to affect you? And for me, I feel like I need to start seeing other people as children of a mother. That when I get mad at a behavior of somebody, when I get frustrated, that I stop and I think, this is somebody's child. This person has a mother who would do probably anything to protect this person, that probably did the best that they could in bringing up this person. And who am I to kind of look down on somebody's child? And I think that's something I got to work on. And to recognize also, for me, who are the mothers in my lives? You know, yes, I have my wonderful, amazing mother that, gave me life and has brought me up, and I still have an amazing, great relationship with. But who are those other mothers in my life that have formed me into who I am And then to recognize that with other people, that other people have so many mothers. And this is just coming to me now, but like to recognize that there's other people are mothers, to recognize that there are so many women in this world that are mothers to others, and to call that up and to recognize that and to applaud that.
For me, I know my phrase again was, this fight is not worth fighting. And I took that originally as looking at Ukraine, that conflict, the Gaza and that conflict. But, those are all both overseas. And there's not a lot, other than maybe sending some positive energy that way, that I'm going to do to affect those conflicts, those fights. But I do have my own world here. And, there's every day, every week, every month, it seems there's opportunities where we don't see eye to eye with each other. We get in conflict, we get in fights, we get in arguments. And I think at some point, even in those little battles that we have, they're not World War II, and they're not the Civil War, and they're not the Gaza, and they're not Ukraine, but the little battles that contribute sometimes to the big battles, that we can say, this fight is not worth fighting, that this fight needs reconciliation, not continued lobbing of bombs, be it words or whatever. So I feel like I got to look at my life day in and day out for those opportunities to not get into another fight, but to say, this fight's not worth fighting, so let's have some reconciliation here.
Well, we thank you for listening to Auditio Divina, Sacred Listening with Heart. We hope that you took this time to really reflect on the lyrics of this song and that it makes a difference in your life going forward.
And so until next time,
catch you on the flip side.